Evolutionary.org podcast coming away, episode 636. Very special interview with our man, EVO Bodybuilder, Madcap71. We're going to talk about the shows on here. He is a hell of a bodybuilder. He's also a wrestler. This guy does it all. You can go and check out his log on the forum. It's called Competition Prep Journal 2025. And he's also has another log, which you can see in his signature. So go on there, Madcap71. You can do the search for him by member and you'll be able to pull up his information. So listen, at the end of the day, want to remind everyone we are on Apple, we are on Spotify. Really appreciate the likes, the subs, the comments, telling your friends and family. We want to continue to grow this podcast organically. So Madcap, thank you for joining us. We had some technical difficulties at the start, but we got it
Yeah.
going. Thank you for joining us. Mobster, you have some words?
Yes. On behalf of the bosses, on behalf of Steve, me, myself, and the listeners for this show, thank you very much for coming on. One of the things that we've noticed, especially in the last few weeks, and especially since we started doing these member interviews, is the sort of sense of community that we've been getting and growing through Evolutionary, even more than it was already. And I'm not going to mention stuff because I didn't realize that I knew Madcap through UK Muscle from some time ago. So talk about a sense of community there. And you might actually know one of my buddies. I'll ask you during the show. So yeah, listen, these shows are for the evolutionary members to listen to, for all people to listen to. And we can't do these shows without people like yourself coming on and helping us to grow. So thank you very much for being here today.
No, thank you for having me. It's weird because I've been listening to the podcast for about 3 years before I even came onto the forums, and I feel like I'm listening to a podcast now because I know you guys' voices so well, and picking up every bit of knowledge that you guys generously put out, very regularly basis on a very regular basis, and I think it's nice that you're having these spotlights on
Yep.
members of the forum because
It's
obviously,
motivational, right? To see some of these other
yeah,
guys. And,
it's
yeah.
really great.
Yeah.
And
So
learn a
that's what
bit
we
more
want to
into
do.
people's stories and stuff. So
And you've got a
it's
hell of
nice.
a story. It's been really awesome watching you. I love the bodybuilding shows and the wrestling. So we're gonna get to all that on it. So it's gonna be awesome. Once you start everyone off though, tell your basic stats. Height, weight, body fat, where you're at right now, and then how long you've been bodybuilding and just some general history about your bodybuilding history.
Even where you started from, Madcap, what was your numbers when you started out, and then bring us up to date where you are now.
Oh God, I don't know where to start. So I was always a fat kid at heart, and I think getting into the iron game, and I'm talking back maybe 20, 21 years ago now. I'm 40 years old, so I started lifting properly when I was about 19, 20, and I only did so because I love eating. So to mitigate the damage of me eating, I took up going to the gym. And to be honest, and this is kind of, it'll go full circle this, but the reason why I started lifting in the gym is because I was and still am a big professional wrestling fan. So when I was a kid, I used to watch people like Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan and see them, these
Yeah.
big, muscly guys, big, sweaty, musty guys talking absolute rubbish on television. But I just looked at them and thought, they look incredible. How do I get like that? And that took me to the gym. Obviously, I didn't know all their secrets at that time because I was young, but that's what took me to the gym. So I was a fat kid at heart, and really up until recently as well. We'll touch on this, I'm sure, but about 5, 6 years ago, during the pandemic, I got really out of shape. And I just because I think a lot of people probably had this thought during the time that everyone was scared that they were going to catch this the virus that went
Yeah.
around. And me personally, I thought, well, I'm going to get it, and it's going to kill me because I have asthma, and I thought I'm at risk, so I'm going to get it. It's going to kill me, so I'm just going to enjoy my life while I'm trapped at home. I'm going to sit and eat candy, as you would call it in America, but pick and mix sweets and chocolate and get takeaways when I fancied it because I'm going to die, so it doesn't matter. But then, as we came out of it, and as you're aware, I'm now a professional wrestler. I was like, oh
Yeah.
crap, I'm gonna have to be on shows again soon and be performing
The
in
fuck back
very
into
little
shape. Yeah.
clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I need to get back into shape. So I hired a coach that got me to where I am today, basically. So right now, my stats now, I am just shy of 6 foot tall. I could say 5'11" and a half. My weight this morning is 92.5 kilos. So that's round about what,
205,
205?
206. Yeah, 206,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Body fat pretty low. I've just come off the back of a show, so yeah, I don't know if it's an indicator of anything, but I estimate I'm around about 6-7% body fat.
Yeah.
And you guys can go on his log and look at his pictures from his recent bodybuilding show. You could see it's hard to find anywhere on his body where there's body fat. He's extremely, extremely lean. He's as lean
he's got loose skin and he's got his stupidly separated quads, but body fat, yeah, I was going to say somewhere between 6 and 8% post show, but during the show, definitely sub 6%, probably 5 or 6%.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, and
which it causes its own problems when you're trying to pin something sub-Q and you've got no fat to put it into. But,
we had someone come to the gym the other day. I think he's competing this weekend, Madcap, and he was completely wrapped up in super thick hoodie, super thick tracky bottoms, woolly hat on, the full Monty, and mind you, I've got one on now while I'm talking to you. But people don't get, when you're that lean, especially this time of year, you're freezing your fucking tits off because you have a real low body fat. So yeah, there's definitely pluses and minuses.
Yeah, absolutely. But I look great, so that's all that matters. I don't mind being cold. I look good.
One of the things I think Steve and I did a show, just because we'll talk about the wrestling later on as traveling and being a pro wrestler, is that when we did a show, we talked about, I think we were doing one on Hulk Hogan, and we said, one of Hulk Hogan's things and one of the whole reasons for the popularity of wrestling then is because you had essentially what were superheroes in not cartoons, not sort of action go movie type stuff, but real people on a Saturday afternoon that looked superhuman, massively muscular, fighting, quote unquote, for real, but it's still a very physical sort of thing to do, throwing each other around the ring and whatever else. And he was actually kind of cool because he was out there doing promos, eat your Wheaties, listen to your mum and dad, read your Bible, all that kind of stuff. So he was actually trying to put out a positive message to kids. So the idea that you or anybody else that's into that thing and become a pro wrestler especially would have been impressed by the quote unquote superhero type figures, big muscles, etc. It's completely understandable. I'm that much older than you. I'm more of a wide world of sports, Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks back in the day, big fat fucker type wrestlers versus these big muscle guys and whatever else. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just that kind of stuff. Just as an aside, and I'll ask you about this briefly now, I've been doing pre-show research to learn a little bit about you, refresh my memory, and you happened to mention that you'd followed me over from UK Muscle, which following Muscle Talk was absolutely massive, briefly. I think Evolutionary kicks ass in terms of the sheer numbers now, but there's still a very good community over there. So that was super cool for you to say that, and I said as much in the last couple of days on your log. I also see that you trained, I think you still train, I don't know if you train there regularly, because you also do home gym training, which we'll get into, at King's Gym. Do you know, and I don't think he trains there anymore, he used to coach Andy Lidbury. And Andy at one point I've seen, lives on his barge.
Yes, he's a great guy. Yes,
gone off the grid and all that kind of. This is how fucked this is, Steve. I just want to say this to Madcap now. This is how crazy this shit is, and you actually kind of touched on this a little bit at the beginning of the show. How fucking crazy is it that you and I know people? I've never spoke to you before in my life. This is the first time. On the internet, on the forums, yes, but never in the way that we're doing it right now. And it's one of those American things, Steve. There's 80 million people living here, and I know these cunts' friends. I know his mates.
It's a small world, yeah.
Because of training, because we lift weights, we know people that know people, and that's how close
beautiful,
that kind of community
It's a beautiful community
to
have that. Yep, that's what we love about,
especially in London. The iron, if you're in the iron game in London, there's a good chance you'll be known. If you're like if you compete in anything, whether that's bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman,
yeah,
you'll be known, or someone will know. You'll know someone who knows someone.
The local
I think
team,
in
the
this
people from
instance,
my local gym went to a competition the other day, and they went to a club afterwards, and the fella says, "Oh, what are you here for?" This is the bouncer, Steve, and they were talking about Powerhouse Gym, and he goes, "Oh, do you know Mobster?" Completely random. I don't even know who this geezer is. He'd seen my picture on the internet doing grip shit. So yeah, the community is just fucking amazing, mate. It is a small world, but it's made closer because we lift weights and we do the things that we do.
Yep.
That's amazing. Yeah,
it's like a hobby.
So
it's like a hobby within a hobby. It's very fascinating. Yep.
I think if you're of a certain age as well, definitely, because I think it's a bit more, probably back in Mobster's days, a bit more underground, a bit more. I don't know.
You've been doing this 20. You've been doing this 20 years, mate. After a while, you become part of that group. You are someone that's not a 5-minute wonder. Yeah. You have literally done 2 decades, half your fucking life, putting your work out there. You're on stage. You're part of the community over on Evolutionary. So, in a way, you become, for want of a better phrase, a face. Someone, I know him because he's done that. And especially if you go to a competition, Steve, I might not go to a competition for 5 or 6 years, and I will go to a competition. I guarantee you, even if I went there on my own on a bus or a coach or something or whatever, I would see people I haven't seen for 5 or 10 years, and we'd be fucking talking like we ain't missed each other for 5 minutes, and we'd be talking about training, and it's just that connection. So the whole community thing is super, super important. But listen, we could talk about this stuff all fucking day, and that's more of an off-air thing than a show thing. Let's talk a little bit about your journey. Let's talk about your competition stuff, like Steve said earlier on. So you've literally just done, I believe, 2 back-to-back competitions. The guys have obviously been following how you've been getting into shape. Talk about, for those new to competitions, those don't understand, we see this stuff on social media. What's it like prepping for a competition? What's it like getting into that kind of shape? Talk about, again, as I said earlier on, being super cold, that kind of thing. Give people an insight into prepping for a competition if they've never experienced it.
Well, yeah, I think, and I've done many different disciplines within the iron game. So I started off, I've done 1 strongman competition, which was very difficult. I never want to do that ever again. I did powerlifting for a long time, about 10 years, and then I stopped that to do the wrestling. Wrestling also nothing I think that's quite difficult, but I think the hardest thing I've done in the iron game is bodybuilding, because with powerlifting, it's tough on the day of the meet. The training's tough, fine. With strongman, again, it's tough on the meet and the day of the meet, and the training's really tough. Wrestling, it's tough on my body when I do shows, when I'm doing training for wrestling, and when I'm traveling. Traveling is probably the hardest bit of it, but bodybuilding, it's 24/7 work. I don't think people appreciate that. They think you step on stage, you think, oh, you look great, and people think that it comes easy or that you've got elite genetics or whatever. I don't have elite genetics. I have great genetics for getting big and fat, but for getting stage lean, it's very difficult for me. So I think in terms of the competitions and getting there, and what I've learned over the last few years of competing is I have to stay in and around in touch and distance of being lean, because I've tried the one season where I got to 110 kilos.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh yeah, this is where I strip down, I'm going to look really good because I've put on a bit of size. When I stripped down and finally did that show, I was 86 kilos. So
using 242 pounds down to 190 something, so 50 something pounds there or thereabouts.
So I lost over 50 pounds just on that prep, and because I had to, not because it happened. I had to get down to that level to get to the body fat percentage I need to do well on stage.
I've heard this phrase, Madcap. Hopefully this echoes with you. I've heard this phrase where they say, "Oh, you're so lucky." So I'm lucky when I'm wearing my food. I'm lucky when I'm going to the gym when you can't stand when it's raining. I'm lucky when my body's fucking aching and I still go and get my training done. I'm lucky when I'm, like you said, traveling to events and shit. I'm lucky when I'm spending all that the fuck is luck got to do with it? I'm grinding. I'm putting in the
So
effort.
I've
And
had that
that's
with
24 hours a day. 24 hours a day,
I've had
man.
that
Yeah.
with wrestling as well. To be fair, I've had times where this is when I started out wrestling. I can remember a time, and obviously we'll touch on wrestling a bit later. But remember a time I was about to wrestle someone from my school, and we were talking about our wrestling gear and all that sort of stuff, and he wanted to wrestle in a t-shirt. And I said to him, you can't wrestle in a t-shirt. You're meant to be an athlete, you know. He's like, oh, well, it's all right for you. You're in shape. I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, because I put in the hours in the gym.
Yep.
I put in the hours in the kitchen. Like, if I go to put a donut in my hand, I'll knock it out of my hand because I know I can't eat it because I have to present myself like an athlete.
Yeah.
If you've not thought about presenting yourself like an athlete and you've been eating,
just on
and
the wrestling, as a professional wrestler, you're getting paid, all right?
yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
I've done exhibition type stuff, so I'm getting paid. I can't go, oh, I'm tired, or I can't be bothered. I'm getting fucking paid.
Yep.
Someone, especially when you went to Italy, we're going to talk about this later, but when you went to Italy,
Yeah.
your flights, food, accommodation, you're getting paid to be there. Oh, look at the big fat fuck turning up out of fucking. What the fuck am I giving this geezer 500 quid for, or whatever the fuck it was they paid you? No.
And not only that as well, not only that, Mark. It's like people are paying to see you as well. So people pay good money to go and watch a show, and everyone's out of shape. They're not going to go again, and they're going to look at you and think, "Oh, this guy looks like he works in a kebab shop, or he looks like he works in Costa."
And you wouldn't be able to perform. You wouldn't be able to throw each other around the ring. You wouldn't be able to take the blows, the stuff that drops.
No, so it's all about respecting your craft and respecting the people who are paying you and respecting the people who are paying to see you to be in the best physical shape possible.
Just for the benefit of the listeners, just for the benefit of the listeners again, Madcap, I mean, this is the thing.
Yeah.
To emphasize what you said, and I'm going to say is, it can seem simple written down, but it's not simple. From weighing your food, from making sure you don't miss any training sessions, the number one thing is consistency, pushing yourself, that kind of stuff, the mental approach, being able to dedicate yourself. For the media and for the average person, they don't get what you do and how hard that is. But the reality is, Madcap just said, it's a difficult thing to do, but you will, and I hope you echo this as well, Madcap. I'll ask you now, if you do it, if you do make it on the stage, if you are in condition, how fucking proud are you that you've done that, that you've dedicated it, and that you've achieved that? Let the listeners know a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, there's just a different sort of gratification when you do it. It's the feeling that you get that comes over you when you're on stage. It's almost euphoric because the lights are on you. People are watching you. All eyes are on you. You're looking your best you've ever looked. You're lean. You're big. You're muscular. You've got your tan on. You're pumped. You're glowing. You look like $1 million, and people are looking at you.
Do you get? And I've seen this at our local gym. Do you get that thing where people around you in the gym and your family and your friends, but especially the gym, there's this weird thing with God bodybuilders. We always imagine, myself included, even as a strength athlete, that we're doing this for the girls. No, we're not. We're doing it for everybody but the girls. Realistically, all your gym buddies will be like, Madcap, you're looking crazy. And then you get support from the gym, people in the gym helping you, bigging you up. Come on, Madcap, stop fucking around, get on with it. You've only got 2 weeks to go, that kind of vibe. And then, obviously, you said family and friends. Obviously, they want to make sure that you're healthy, but it's great for that. I've had this with my daughter when she was much younger, and this whole sort of, my daddy lifts weights and my daddy does this kind of stuff. So that sort of vibe, how you represent to your family, how you represent to your children, that kind of stuff is also massively motivating, and especially when you're tired and it's all too much to do, whatever else. And your kid, your boy, your girl, whatever says, looking. I think James Llewellyn, who's at my local gym, his son pointed at a picture on the house wall and he says, "Who's that, Daddy?" He goes, "That's Daddy." He says, "Well, why are you so fat now then?" So it's like a bit of him. And he was a professional back in the day. So yeah, listen, you, again, just for the benefit of the listeners, just to understand that there is that sort of pinnacle of all the work and everything that you've done to get on the stage and be happy that you have made it. Very few people compete. It's less than 1%. Most people
and I
don't want to
think
do
the
it.
the run up to the show is terrible. It's horrible up until the day before, maybe the morning
Mm.
of. It's horrible. Then, but when you get to the venue, you've done your tan, you're
Yeah.
ready, you're pumping up, whatever. You start to feel really good, even though like you're depleted, you're drained, you're
Still
hungry.
hungry, yeah.
You come, this feeling comes over you, thinking all the work's done now.
Yes.
It's all after this. It's all
Now
done.
it's go time.
Yeah, it's go time, and you get energized, you feel good, and you put on a show, so to speak, with your posing, and you just enjoy it. I mean, to be fair, I've seen people on the stage who don't look like they enjoy it, who look
So
like
what do you,
death. But
so
me personally, I love it.
how many competitions have you done over the
In
course of your life?
total,
So I did 3 this year.
Okay.
I had the
Wow.
last year off because I wanted to have a decent off season, and also I got married, so I wanted to just enjoy that year.
Yeah.
Not thinking about prep and that sort of stuff. I did 2 the year before. I don't know. I think I did like 4 or 5 the year before then.
Wow.
My
Okay.
first year of competing. So
Okay. So let's talk
um,
about the 2 recent ones that you talk about in your log. PCA
Yeah,
British Finals, that was one. What was the other one?
PCA London's, and then earlier in the year I did PCA Hampshire.
Okay, so those 3. So you finished 6 out of 11. It was a really tough competition at the recent one,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And that was really good because like 6 out of 11, it was a really tough competition. You had some really good competitors against you. And the other ones,
Yes.
how did you do in the other ones?
So the other one I didn't place. The one at the Londons, and that was 2 weeks before the British, so that was kind of set a rocket up my ass, to be fair. In terms of
What happened there? Do you
honestly,
think what was something that you learned from that you did wrong? Did the judges say there was something that caused you not
it was
to?
posing. It was just posing.
So
That's
what
all
did
it
you do
was.
to fix that? Did you hire a coach? Did you help you with posing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's I hired a coach, a lady called Amy. I think a lot of people within bodybuilding know her because she competes, but she also she runs a posing company. And
Yeah.
whilst some people might think, oh, what are you hiring a woman for to teach you how to pose? But it's about being able to be graceful and present your body in like a beautiful way. So I thought, no, I'm going to hire a woman to do this because she knows her stuff. She competes. Her partner's a bodybuilder, so she knows about the sport, and she goes to enough shows, and she will know
Samson's
how to present.
his wife coaches him, and people couldn't get their head around it when
Yep.
he won the Mr. Olympia. That his wife, a
Yep.
woman who'd only competed a couple of times herself, but she has been in amazing shape, was able to produce a Mr. Olympia
It
because
makes sense because
yeah.
women can look at a man
Yes.
and have a different
Yes.
vision. They can,
I want the
it's
person to have,
amazing. Yeah.
unless they're into ballet, having a coach for posing, especially who has that eye, that artistic eye, that maybe is judged a competition or being judged, will kind of know how you're supposed to look. And we don't always see that for ourselves. We talked about this on other shows and interviews that we've done, our sense of what we look like, etc. So having somebody who has the eye and will literally, I've seen this, just move the shoulder, put your foot in this position. Oh, yeah, that transforms it. That's what the judges are going to say. Lean forward because you're leaning towards the judges, not towards the crowd. Moving your elbows up, so raise your bicep above your shoulder so your arms look bigger. Bringing your arms forward if you're long-limbed, bringing your arms back if you're short-limbed, and so on. And so we got Jack D42 coming up, and he's very short-limbed, way less than 6 foot. So he has to present his physique completely differently than you would. So and then again, one thing I do see that people don't do enough of is fucking posing non-stop for half an hour minimum every fucking night for those last few weeks before a competition, because it can absolutely destroy you on stage. And your arms will drop and you will get tired. The adrenaline only takes you so far. And even just what we call standing relaxed. You got to look like a champion
relaxed.
just fucking standing there. No, you got to look like somebody.
And it's not relaxed in the slightest.
The one tip, and I think you do this, that I say to people is look like you're enjoying yourself even when you're not. So you're smiling and You either smile or you don't smile. With the gym pictures, you don't smile, but your posing pictures, you're always smiling. And the idea that you're on stage having fucking fun, the judges like that as well, that you look confident, that you look at home up there on stage. So, yeah, absolutely. The idea that you've, for the benefit of the listeners again, he realised there was something he could improve on. He went away, he worked with a coach, and he improved. It was as simple as that, Steve. So that's really, really cool. Yeah.
Anything
Talk
else?
a little bit. Yeah, sorry.
Anything else besides the posing that you feel like you could have done better?
No, because I had, for context, I had 2 weeks between these two shows. So I was already peaked. There was no amount of body fat that I could lose in that period of time that was going to do anything to me. I was already peeled. So, it was just essentially posing. I got with a posing coach, and I posed maybe 3 times a day.
Excellent.
Nice.
For those 2 weeks. And even then, my posing wasn't perfect until the week of the show. Nice. I was still doing things wrong. My foot position wasn't right. Still, I wasn't engaging my lats fully. My chest wasn't up fully for the lat spread and the front double bicep but it all came together in the last week where it all just clicked because I'd put in the time daily to pose and to send my coach pictures and videos of me posing, and he'd be like, no, that's wrong, you need to change this. And I'm not gonna lie, it was very frustrating because when you do all the work all year round to get your body to the place where you're big and you're lean and you look your best, but then when you can't present your best because you can't pose properly, it's very frustrating.
And being told,
yes,
being told,
being told, being told.
Yep. So tell us,
no, this is wrong, and it's very frustrating.
So I definitely want to get into some tips that you've learned over the years across the board. But first, let's talk about PEDs a little bit. For your competition, a lot of people always are curious, and you listed your PEDs. It's not that much gear. I'll just read out what you started with as your initial plan, and you can kind of tell us what you changed. 450 milligrams of test, 300 milligrams of Primo, 600 milligrams of Masteron. You're running the Retruditride, which is not a steroid. It's a GLP-1. And then you're running, you run some SLU, and then 50 milligrams of Proviron, and then the T4 for the thyroid. So really, the Proviron, Masteron, Primo, and test, and the total dosing was not very much, like a little bit over a gram a week. Is that what you went into the competitions with? That's all you run? Because a lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people will look at you like, oh, this guy's on 5 grams of gear or something.
Yes.
You know?
It actually ended up being a lot less towards the actual show because as a time
you dropped the testosterone?
Primo.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
we dropped the testosterone the last week, but in the run up to the show, we pulled the Primo out and replaced that with Equipoise because of the issue with we're having what we're seeing at the moment with Primo being not as readily available and the potential for me if I continue to if I basically went onto another vial of Primo, is that going to be legit Primo or is that going to be, I don't know, test probe or whatever?
You can't register that in the last week before a competition, not knowing what you're taking. No. Yeah,
and the same with Masteron as well. I was on 600, end up at 600 meg of Masteron, which we pulled as well, and swapped that for 15 meg of Anavar a day. So the actual androgenic load got less going into the show, and then got less again when we pulled out.
I think it's going to blow people's mind to hear you say this because so many people, including people in the sport, including people on Evolutionary, but not everybody, has to be said. We are quite good at giving out that kind of information. We might disagree, but we're still kind of in the right direction, same direction. The idea that you need to be on 5 grams, 6 grams a week, or whatever we hear every.
No, it's I think it might be evident from, and I hope it's evident from my log and what I say on the forums, but I'm very much into the lower doses and doing the lowest possible dose to get the biggest possible result and to stay healthy and to be able to do this sport, because it shows in your physique as well.
Yeah, definitely. And at the end of the day, the truth is some people that you're going up against are blasting the crap out of gear, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to look better. They could end up looking like a bloated mess. They could end up getting really sick. They could end up having all kinds of issues happen. So, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, it's really good though that you're sharing that. And like I said, it's not surprising to me, but I think it's surprising to a lot of people that you're not running that much gear because at some point it becomes counterproductive. Don't you think it? Don't you agree with that? Like at some point, if you're
Oh,
running
100%.
3 grams and you feel like crap and you feel like you're
You
about
feel
to
like
have a
crap.
stroke,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of
You feel like crap. You go to bed and you think, oh, like, your heart's racing and you can't sleep properly. And if you're taking too much tren, for
if you
example,
can't sleep, you
your
can't
heart and
recover. If you can't sleep,
no,
you can't
exactly.
recover. And then that affects your fat loss, it affects your muscle building and all that other stuff too. So it definitely has a counterproductive effect. You can't go to the gym the next day. So let's go let's touch on a little bit of your future. What do you plan on doing over the next year, 2 years when it comes to competing? Is that something that you're going to continue doing, or is it something where you're like, you know what, I'm good. I want to take a
For
break.
the moment, for the moment, I'm taking a break.
Okay.
Um, I went into this bodybuilding season saying it was going to be my last. The show I did in June, I said it was going to be my last, but I wasn't happy with my placing and how I performed. I didn't want to go out on a low note, so I thought, right, I'm going to carry on this, and I qualified for the British finals, so I'm going to do the British finals. And I got to a place, obviously, where I did the British finals, and I was happy with my placing. I was happy with the look. I couldn't be any happy with how I performed. I know I could have been bigger. Well, I know that the feedback that I got was I just need to get bigger, and that's just based on who shows up on the day. And if they're bigger than you, they're bigger than you, and they're probably going to beat you. There's nothing I could do about that. So I was very happy with that. Um, as I mentioned, I'm 40 years old. So me, and even though I don't really do high amounts for context of bodybuilding prep, but I don't want to be blasting gear. I want to be taking low doses, maybe a little bit above TRT, and focus on optimizing my hormones. Maybe take a bit of human growth hormone for the anti-aging benefits. To take some peptides to improve how I feel health-wise and my markers, my blood work.
So
I want to make sure
how
that's
much are you going
that's
to be
all optimized.
using of a growth hormone? What, you going to be alternating it or
Um,
just keeping it kind of low?
at the moment, I'm taking 5 IU on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which equates to 2 IUs every day.
Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah.
Uh, and sorry, just to add to that as well, I'm taking at the moment MK677 at night,
Okay.
and daily 10 meg.
Does that help you
Um,
sleep at night?
oh, I'm having the best sleep. I'm
So
having the
it's
best
helping
sleep at
you
the
sleep
moment.
hard, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm having deep sleep. I'm having crazy dreams. I'm waking up fresh, ready and I train in the morning, as you'll see in my
Yeah.
journal. So I
That's a
wake up.
big help, isn't it? Like being able to sleep fresh like that and waking up
Oh
and
man,
being like,
it's
yeah.
night and day,
Yeah.
like night and day difference. I get up fresh, energized,
Yeah.
spring in my step. I get up, have my water, have my vitamin sups, do my daily health checks, so my blood pressure, my blood glucose, my resting heart rate, and then I go to the gym, smash the gym, come home, have a big post workout meal, and I feel fantastic all day.
Okay. So
And
give us
I
that.
put that down to the sleep.
So the
So.
guys can, of course, go on your log and really take a look. You get into more of your nutrition and your training. But tell us about that. Tell us your post-workout meal. What do you like? What is a good option for a lot of guys out there that are looking to build your type of physique? What is a good post-workout meal that's healthy and that's easy to do?
Well, I'd say healthy because I have two different post-workout meals I will have depending on when I train. If I train any time after, let's say, let's say 10 in the morning, and I get home, half 11, 12, I will have chicken, uh, jasmine rice, and that's it. I'll have chicken and rice. It goes down the treat. It tastes nice, digests nice and easy, and it's good. Um, I might have a bit of fruit with that. I might have a banana or something just to get some simple carbs in, and that's great. Where I train at the moment in the morning, and I know you're going to disagree with this, Steve, but I was just bear with me. I'll come home and I'll have some whey protein in some cereal, and that's just because of the time of the day. It's a nice morning food. It digests really well
No,
for
no, I
me. I
don't
could
agree.
eat that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with cereal as long as because most cereals are crap. As long as it's a good, good
Oh
cereal.
no, rice based only
Yeah,
rice based cereal.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, none of this, none
yeah,
of the sugar crap.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
rice
The
based
stuff that they
cereal.
market to kids, that's
Oh no, no, no,
So it's
no,
good
no, no, no,
quality
no, no,
cereal.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah, good quality rice based
yeah.
cereal. I have that post workout with some whey protein. And depending on where I am in the year, it could be anything from 100 grams of cereal to 200 grams of cereal, depending on what stage I am in terms of
Okay.
if I'm cutting, if I'm on a mass gain. At the moment, it sits around about 150 grams, and that sits nicely with me. It digests really well. If I need to, I could eat again in an hour. And then that really post workout is it's a nice treat. I like cereal, so yeah, it sits there really well. And then the rest of my day is super clean, as you'd see on my journal. I'm very
Yeah.
much chicken and rice, cod and rice. I would use. I don't like to eat too much fatty meat. I
Okay.
rather my fats come from added fats. So I'd rather add olive oil or fish oil or almond butter to my
Okay.
meals rather than have
Does a
fat in
does,
animal fat because so go on.
it bothers your stomach, or is it? What's the reasoning?
No, I think just because it's never an exact science. If you're having steak post workout, for example,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you weigh the steak out, you can't weigh the fat out. The
Okay.
weight of the steak is the weight of the steak. Whereas if I'm having a very lean protein source like chicken or fish, for example, you're getting, the amount of protein you're getting. There's trace carbs, trace fats in it. But if you're adding almond butter or olive oil to it, the exact amount of fats you're going to get from that because that doesn't really change. So that's my only reason into it. And you know, I find it just cleaner. It tastes better. Um, Not to say I don't have 5% beef or whatever every so often, but
Hmm.
how do you know it's really 5%, or 3%?
Yeah, that makes
There's
sense.
no
Yeah.
real way of telling. So that's my thoughts on it. And
Yeah.
I love the combination of almond butter and chicken, to be fair. So yeah.
So let's talk a little bit before we get into the wrestling. Some more tips. There might be guys out there, some younger guys, or even middle age, who are overweight, and you grew up this, the overweight guy. What is a tip for them to get that reversed? And because you talked about how you just sit around and eat candy and stuff, but what else besides, hey, getting rid of the junk food is something that really got you turned around and got that reversed? Because, history is important. If you grew up overweight, then as an adult, there's a good chance you're going to have issues with being overweight. If you grew up skinny, you're probably going to be, as an adult, more on the skinny side, an ectomorph. And in your case, you grew up fat, and now look at you. You're like 6, 7% ripped bodybuilder on stage. So what are some tips you can give to guys out there listening to this?
Um, I think so. The one thing I learned from my transition from being fat to where I am now is just keep moving. You have to move about. Humans, and you said it as well, Steve. In the past, we've evolved from, you know, cavemen who were always moving and always doing things and
Yeah.
always,
Yeah, we had to, or
hunting
we would
and
die. If you
and
didn't move,
yeah,
you
or
died,
running away
Yeah.
from yeah,
Yeah.
running away from gazelles and lions and shit. You have to keep moving. And one thing I learned to be able to reset my metabolism, to because I was my I guess maintenance was around 2,000 calories back in the day. And if I ate anything more than that, I put on weight. And now I can lose weight on 3,000 calories, um, because I a very basic level, and you'll see on my log, I get a decent amount of steps in every day. There's very rarely been I don't well only if it's been deliberate, but
Mhm.
there's been
So
very
really,
few days this
cardio.
year.
Would you tell them
Yeah.
start doing cardio every single day, like no matter what? Would that
Yeah.
be a
I mean,
first step?
cardio, absolutely. Well, I'd say even if someone's beginning, just get your steps up. Getting your steps up is a lot easier
Yeah.
than getting cardio in. Um, like
That's what I've been doing. Yeah.
yeah, I
How,
think
how,
if you can get to
because sorry,
if you can
because
get
we
to a place
use
where
P,
you're so gone.
yeah, because we use PEDs and we also talk about blood tests on the forum a lot. The
Yeah,
idea of doing steps and cardio is good for your heart health and good for your well-being long term, and is a much easier, simpler way of just burning a few hundred extra calories a day. And that's just for the
yeah,
average people again. And then if you can do it intensely, marching along, getting 9, 10, 15,000 steps a day, 20,000 steps a day, as some people do properly, and I mean like
yeah.
4 or 5 miles an hour, not 3 miles an hour, that becomes fat burning without you running. And of course, it's low impact. You're not getting the issues that you might get being bigger, muscular, and lean, and running around and having issues with your knees and your elbows and your hips, as we sometimes do, especially when we're super lean. So, yeah.
Yep. And I'll always say, obviously do cardio. Cardio is really important for your heart health and whatever. But if you're from the starting point of being overweight and you're trying to get yourself going to make small changes in your lifestyle to get to a place where you're obviously not as big and unhealthy, Septon's an
Yeah.
easy one to do. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Well, I had a buddy.
if I
I
didn't
had a
want to
buddy
move
here.
at
I
all,
had a buddy here, Madcap. He was 294 pounds, Steve, 21 stone, about 5 foot something, 5'6", 5'7", something like that. So that's a lot of weight at 5'6", 5'7". And he did two things. One was he started walking every single day when he hadn't done, and the other one is he stopped drinking. I think it was 20 tins of fucking beer that he was drinking every single day. And
Yeah,
I use him as
that's a
an
killer. Yeah.
example. Yeah, yeah. I
yep,
mean, he literally halved his body weight. I think he
Yeah.
got down to 154 pounds, 11 stone in old money, about 70 kilos.
So
I literally used to use him as an example of people of this. He used to be literally twice the body weight you're looking at right now.
yeah,
And
you
just
can
show him to
definitely
people.
change. So Madcap, before I move on to your wrestling stuff, what are some more tips and advice you can give to some of the younger guys who are overweight or middle-aged guys who are overweight to really get it going? Maybe talk about nutrition, a little more nutrition, food prepping, and then also the mental aspect of it as well.
yep. So obviously a big one's nutrition. And my tips when it comes to nutrition that I tell people who ask me is, how do you stop yourself from eating, chocolate or whatever? Don't buy it. Don't have it in your house. It's quite simple. Is if I don't have
Yeah,
chocolate, cakes, crisps,
yeah,
sweets in the house, I'm
yeah,
not going to eat it
yeah,
because I'm not going to. Everything, and I say to myself, if I ever have something that's not on plan or what have you, I always say to myself before I eat it, this is a conscious decision. You've decided to
yeah,
put this in your mouth. So,
yeah,
whatever happens at the end of it, this is what you've decided. You can't say, make excuses, whatever, you've decided this. So I've made the conscious decision to not, when I go do my food shop, I will walk past all the sweets, the chocolate, the cakes,
yeah,
the cookies, the
yeah,
brownies, whatever. And I will look at it and I think, yeah, I want that. I'm not going to have it. I'm not going to buy it because if it's in my house, it's going to get eaten. And I live with my wife and she eats whatever she wants, and that's great for her, and she's happy with it, and she still looks great. But her junk that she eats, she will keep in her own cupboard that I don't go
I
into.
was gonna ask you about that. What does she think about
yeah,
you? Because my girlfriend, when I first met her, she was scared like to even admit to what she was eating because she was like, "Oh my God, this
what are
guy."
you doing?
Yeah, this guy is like now she like I transformed her. Now she's freaking way too skinny and she's like freaking like she's so skinny like her bones show like on her spine because she eats healthy and she loves it. But like my question is, did she think you were like a freak? Was she scared of eating stuff around you or
I
how
think,
does that work?
well, before we moved in together, I had one prep. So she would only come around to spend time with me on weekends or whatever because we lived quite a distance apart from each other before she moved in, and um, she would occasionally get a takeaway because she didn't live with me, so she's not cooking or anything. She doesn't have food or stuff in my house, so she would get a takeaway or whatever. Or if we would go out on a Saturday night, we go to Nando's because she can get whatever she wants there, and I can get chicken breasts and broccoli. or chicken breast and a salad or something, and that fits in with what my macros and stuff for my prep. But
Yeah.
she would sit there and she'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," she's eating the Chinese, and I'll say, so at the end of the day, you eat whatever you feel comfortable with. It's not a problem for me as long as I don't eat it, I don't care. I've made this decision to do this show myself.
Yeah.
It
on you.
is what it is. It's on me. You can eat whatever you want.
It's amazing.
You're your own person.
I'm just blown away the mentality of you guys in Britain. It's not like that in America. In America, it's just like we're so like a lot of the men here are just like, you've got to work out, you gotta eat. It's just like, and it's so different. It's like almost fascist the way a lot of Americans
I would
think
tease my girlfriend, and I suspect Madcap's no different in that regards. But the reality is, this is my fucking choice. It's Madcap's choice. It doesn't have to be everybody else's choice.
I think that's
So,
I say this to she'll apologize to me for eating a Chinese next week, but I'll say to the book, like, this is my decision. I'm put myself in this place where I can't eat certain things. And I don't want to eat certain things because I have a goal that I need to achieve. And yeah, your food smells amazing. And there was actually one time this prep where, and this is like a week
my
out.
girlfriend, sorry, my girlfriend probably eats better than I do, Steve, and she's only having 2 meals a day. So she weighs. I joke there was about eating ice cream and stuff because obviously I do. But she weighs 45 kilos, whereas I'm bitching because I'm down to 103 kilos.
You could pick her up and throw her.
I curl more than she does in one hand. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, look, I mean, I joke about this stuff, and I'm sure Madcap feels the same. I've gone to my mum, and she's brought too many tomatoes, or 2 packs of tomatoes, because it was a bargain, son. There was 2 packs for the price of 1. Well, you don't need 2 packs, mother. Do you want them? I'm fucking 60 years. Yeah, go on then. Fuck it. I'll have them. Sort of thing. I'm about to say, what the fuck are you giving me tomatoes for? I can buy my own tomatoes. And then 2 seconds later, I go, yeah, what the fuck? I'll have them on the train. You know what I mean? So yeah, look, it's funny how we have this little positive influences. Really,
it's almost like though when you push someone to do something, they repel it. But like with me, I never pushed my girlfriend to change. I just told her, hey, I don't want to smell the junk food. Just don't bring the junk food around. I don't want to smell it because it smells nasty to me. That's all I would tell her. But over time, she gravitated toward my lifestyle because it's kind of like I educated her.
She sees you full of energy. She sees you full of vigor.
She never fasted in her life, and then now she fasts all the time. She fasts more than me. So it's just amazing. When you push someone, that repels them. But when you educate them and you show them how it's done in a correct way, then they kind of gravitated. So Madcap, that might happen with you over time. Maybe like 2-3 years from now, you'll come back and tell us, yeah, my wife, she's eating more healthy than me. So that would be cool. So finish your point on that, and we definitely want to go to wrestling. Finish your point on that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so nutrition, first thing is if you don't have it in your house, you're not going to eat it. So don't have it in your house. That's the first thing. Second thing, which is as important, I think, is not just being at home, but in general, is prep all your meals. Like just if you know what you need to eat for the week, have yourself ready. I cook my meat. I cook 2 or 3 days worth of meat or protein, and I'll put that in the fridge. And then depending on what I've got going on that day, if it's a rest day or a training day, then I'll prep my carbs for that day, and then my veg for the day, and then I'm good for the day. If I go out somewhere and I don't know what time I'm going to be back, I will take 2 meals out with me just in case, because if I know I can go 3-4 hours without eating, that's fine. But if it's anything longer than that, then I'm going to start looking around for, or what protein source can I get that's nearby, or I might have to buy a sandwich, and getting a sandwich is not ideal. So I always make sure wherever I am, I take two prep meals with me, because when I get hungry, I can just reach for that and eat it. And if I get home and I haven't eaten the second one, I've got my next meal ready in front of me already. So I think it's really important to prepare your food and have your meals done and ready, because it stops you from eating something you shouldn't have. I work in an office once a week, so I know if I have my food for the day, I'm not going to reach into the cookie tub or the sweets that they keep in the cupboard, or or go to the canteen and buy some chocolate or some crisps, or go to a local shop and buy cookies or something, because I have all my food prepped out and ready for me.
So you work a full. So
that's
you work
another thing.
Here's a
let me
thing,
just ask you
Stephen. I
this.
think.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait.
So,
you work
Madcap, you might agree with this as well. This is about making the right choices, guys. I was very lucky back in the day, Steve, that when I was working at, for example, New Scotland Yard, the canteen ladies, which were mostly Jamaican, West Indian, got to kind of know me. And so I was the one that they were giving milk for, or if they had extra jerk pork, they would save me an extra portion and shit. So it was weird. People actually kind of help you in that way. But listen, basically, this is for the most people, not necessarily for our core audience. Just making the right fucking choices and doing that consistently again and again and again, because you're putting the work in.
Every day.
Grinding. Every day you're grinding.
Absolutely.
Every day. And
so
take a day at a time.
Yep, go ahead. And so Madcap, let me ask you this. So you have a full-time job and you do the bodybuilding and you do the wrestling, all three? So you're a busy guy.
Yes.
So talk about your wrestling. My first question is, and I'll let Mobster take over. How did you first get into it? You said you grew up a fan, but how did you actually get into the industry? Like, did you go to a tryout? Is there a school you have to go to? How does that work?
So as part of me being a wrestling fan, I started attending shows, just like British wrestling shows. So Mobster mentioned the likes of Giant Haystacks and Big Daddy. It's not really like that anymore. But we still have British shows.
We've had the local
regularly.
one. Yeah. There's like a circuit and shit. But
back in so I started attending those.
I think the 70s was when Big Daddy and John. So I was young. I was watching it young. But yeah, there's a proper circuit now in the UK where they go around. I think 2 or 3 groups, like in America with the different organisations. We've got 2 or 3 groups that go around in circuits. How did you get into that circuit? How did you get into that group? Talking to the athletes at these things that you went to?
Well, yeah, so I was at a show, and I think we used to go to watch the shows with one of my friends, and because I'd been doing powerlifting at the time, I was a big guy, and I guess I kind of stood out a bit in terms of what your typical British wrestling fan looks like. And every so often, a couple of the wrestlers, they'd see me at the bar after the show, and they'd be like, "Do you wrestle?" And I got that a lot, and I was like, "No, I'm just a fan." And it's like, "Oh, you really should consider doing it." And I've just thought, because I've always been watching the American stuff, and I think compared to those guys, I'm tiny. So, but one day I went to my local wrestling school, which happened to be about 25 minutes from where I lived, and I just did one training session. I kept coming back, and the first session it really hurt. I woke up the next day, I couldn't move. It was really hard work, really hard cardiovascular work, and then there's also taking the bumps, which really hurts and all that sort of stuff. Sorry for bump, who don't people don't understand. It's when you take a fall in a wrestling ring. And I just kept going, and I just fell more and more in love with the process of becoming a wrestler.
Yes.
To the point where I was wrestling training 4 times a week.
Isn't it, Madcap, one of those things you either go once and never go again, or I fucking love this shit and I'm gonna fucking do
100%. 100%. Because I used to teach wrestling as well, beginners classes, and people would come and they would do the warm up, which is 50 squats, 50 bodyweight squats. Nothing horrible. No. People come and do that, and they'd either do it or they would stop, throw up, and leave. And there's people who would leave, you wouldn't see them again because they'd be embarrassed, and they don't want to. People don't want to do the hard work. They think it's easy, and it
looks easy on TV. I don't think people realize that you're picking up, throwing people, lots of cardio it's like high intensity.
Yeah. Do you remember the one intense cardio? Steve, do you remember the one that we did on Hulk Hogan? I believe he went to something similar as Madcap did, and the first session he broke his arm or he broke his leg or something.
Yeah, no, they broke his leg.
Yeah, they did it deliberately. They put him in a position where they think he's going to break his leg, and it broke, and they thought, that's it. We'll never see that motherfucker again. And as soon as he was ready, turns back up in a cast, bitches. Let's go. So that was like
we're not that hardcore now. We just kill people with cardio instead, and then see if they come back. And they 9 times out of 10 they don't.
So do you have?
I did, and then
I was gonna say, do you have like an
So go ahead.
agent that hooks you up with these gigs? Does he call you up and say,
Mm.
"Hey, you got to go to Italy, you got to go this place and do a wrestling match"? How does that work?
No, I think some people do at a very, very high level. Like, say, for example, if you freshly left the WWE or something,
Hmm.
and you're being inundated with bookings and that sort of thing, someone has to manage that for you because it can be a
Okay.
bit, manage your diary and tricky and stuff. But for me, myself, I'm not at that level where I need to have an agent or anything. So I just manage my own bookings.
So they just call
Um,
you up and say, "Hey, do you want to do this show in Italy? It's on this
yeah,
day," and then you go. Okay.
basically, yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you get
Um,
there, and then you have to train for a little bit, and then you meet the person you're gonna go up against and train with them. How does that work?
so how it really usually works is you get to the venue, you meet up with the person who you're going to be fighting, I guess,
Yeah.
wrestling that day.
Are you
Um,
gonna tell us the
and
secret of who decides who wins?
the,
Or is that
the, the promoter promoter tells you when you get there. It's all down to the promoter.
it's
So
real though.
uh,
Okay.
It's,
we all know
just
it's
to
not real.
explain it, and I'm sure Madcap will echo this. Steve, and you and I have talked about this on the Hulk Hogan show. Look, and I want to explain this again. Right, so the decision who's going to win, we just heard, that's been made. You'll talk
Yeah.
maybe about the style of the fight, the story, the way it's going to go. But let's be
Yes.
clear. It's the same as practicing martial arts, Steve. You're still pinning people. You're still throwing someone. You're still landing on someone. You're not deliberately trying to smash them out like it
Yeah.
looks like you're trying to do. But the
Yeah.
idea that a 200+ pound man, Madcap, is going to land on my fucking chest and I've got to make it look like he's 300 pounds and he just
Yeah.
moves an inch out of position, it fucking hurts. And then I've still got to get up and give
It
them
is
their
brutal.
money's worth. It
Every
is
ex-wrestler that
remarkably
I've
brutal.
known over the years, they all like have back problems. I know it's a brutal,
Yes.
brutal sport. So would you
Yeah,
say it's more
I mean,
brutal than weight training, wrestling,
Um,
or a little bit both?
it's I don't know. I think because I come from powerlifting, so I know what
Yeah.
like pain is, and I know what
yeah,
um, you know, I had a sort of experience with pain and training and that sort of thing. So it wasn't so. I think it was easy for me to adapt. Let's say, um, but wrestling itself is it's a tough endeavor, and I think like Mobster said, if someone wins you in the context of a wrestling match, you've got to get
yeah,
up and finish the match. If you
yeah,
get injured, you got to get up and finish the
Yeah.
match. Unless your legs hanging off or whatever, then you can't.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I've had instances where I've got injured in matches and I've finished the match because it the fans don't expect a wrestling match to end abruptly because someone's injured.
Yeah.
They expect the
Well, what was
story
your worst
that's
injury
being
where you
told
had
to
to
finish.
finish? What was your worst injury at the worst injury you had to finish the match?
I mean, touch wood, I've not had anything too bad. I've broken my nose in a match and carried on.
Oh wow. Okay.
I've dislocated my thumb in a match and carried on.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh my
Yeah, yeah,
God.
yeah.
I've popped my knee out and carried on
Oh.
multiple times.
So what happens
Jesus.
after the match in that situation? You go back to the dressing room. Is there like
Ice.
is there like a
Lots of
trainer or a
ice.
doctor there that looks at it, or do they just say
If
go
if
to
you're
the
lucky,
hospital?
if you're lucky, you have a medical. Because
Okay.
the thing is, if they come at quite significant expense in the UK to have a,
Yeah.
a medic
So you're
show.
pretty much
Yes.
on your
So some
own
promoters,
to
yeah, so some
fix
promoters won't
yourself.
pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think well, to be fair, we have the NHS, so
Yeah.
we can go to the hospital and not have to pay anything.
Yeah. But if you're
But
overseas, like in America or Italy or another country, like
oh
America
yeah,
definitely doesn't have an NHS.
no,
It
no, no.
costs you like thousands of dollars just to walk into a hospital without even them
I,
doing
I wanna
it.
I wanna ask Madcap because I've been very, very lucky, as I said much earlier in the show, of being paid to do exhibition stuff, which is essentially being paid to show off and to talk to people, which is very
Yeah,
easy for
of
me
course.
because of what I do. How much of a buzz when you've come from being a fan of the guys on the telly, and then you get asked by wrestlers if you're a wrestler, and then you put your time in and you do the work. How much of a buzz is it, for example, being asked to go and wrestle in another fucking country like Italy because of the something that you just saw as a kid, and here you are in a ring in Italy, up on the ropes, about to do a pin,
Yeah.
about to do a fly, about to do a kick or whatever. So you think, I can't fucking believe I'm here being paid to do this shit that I saw as a kid, and here I am now being paid to go to Italy. So yeah, how
There's
much does
there's
that
there's
feel?
nothing like it. There's honestly nothing like it. and because this is probably a space for me to brag a little bit, but I've wrestled in America, I've wrestled in Germany, France, Italy, Poland. You know, it's being able to fly across another part of the world and see another part of the world just because you're a wrestler. It's just an amazing feeling. And then you go out there and you meet these people who can't speak your language, can't speak English, but they adore you, they love you, they want pictures, they want your autograph, they want to buy pictures of you, they want you to sign things. They you know, when I went to Italy recently, I got mobbed after the show to the point where I nearly missed my flight because I couldn't get out the crowd. I've also, and I've actually, I don't think I've actually mentioned this on the forum, but I was for a short period of time signed with the WWE.
Wow.
So I wrestled for them when they came over and did their UK. They tried to start a UK, I guess, a UK show or UK promotion over here, which they did have for a period of time. But I was in the very beginning of that. They did a UK tournament in 2017. It was 16 guys, and I was one of the 16 picked to represent the WWE UK
awesome,
brand.
Man, yeah. You got to let us know on your log when your next wrestling
Yes, absolutely,
is.
yes.
This way some guys out there can go watch it. I mean, if you end up wrestling close to me, I would love to go and watch it.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be awesome. So
that's something I was very proud of, and that feeling when I stepped out of the curtain when I wrestled for the WWE, and when you're behind the curtain and you hear them counting down, you know, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then your music plays, and you're like, shit, I'm about to step out in front of thousands of people. There's millions of people watching this, you know, worldwide. This is crazy, you know.
Yeah, it's fun, man. You're living. It sounds like you're living the life. And does your wife go with you and travel to these wrestling things? Does she enjoy watching it, or she's kind of scared? Is she like one of those wives, like, oh my god, I'm scared, he's gonna get hurt? You know?
Nah, she was she actually. This is how I met my wife. She used to do ring announcing.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so
yep.
Yeah, so she was a ring announcer, and so that's how we met. She was announcing on the show I was on, and she needed to get my details for my introduction. And she kind of aggressively called me over, and I thought, oh, this girl's got a bit of she's got a bit of sass, she's got a bit of attitude. I like it. And then we kind of slid into the DMs, and that's how we end up together and getting married. But she used to come to my shows. She's kind of like just so used to me wrestling and being a wrestler. All she does, she'll just make sure that she'll text me and make sure that my match went okay, that I'm safe. And the first thing I do when I get to the back after a match is say, yeah, hey babe, match is done, match was good, I'm safe, and in one piece. Because she was at the show where I broke my nose, and she had to sit with me backstage and nurse me and make sure that I went to the hospital and got that all sorted out and everything. So she's seen the injury points. She was there when I popped my knee out and that sort of thing. So she's been there. Yeah. She's been there for some of the rough bits, but she just supports me from home now because I know she's not a bigger fan of wrestling than she used to be, so it's understandable. It's a long day as well. I kind of forget to mention how long, even wrestling in Britain, it's a day out of the house. You know, I'll be wrestling for 15 minutes, but it's sitting in the car for 4 hours one way.
Yeah.
And then doing the show and then sitting in the car for 4 hours.
Faffing about with food, faffing about with menus. You've still got
exactly. So.
You've got your day job. You're still competing. Listen, right? I mean, just to finish the show here, very quickly, guys. Great. It's been fantastic having Madcap on. I think you're listening again to recent shows. You understand it's a different kind of journey, and especially with regards to the wrestling, being a pro wrestler and up to and including the WWE. Coming from a different background, from someone who's overweight and got themselves into shape, someone who competes regularly, someone who's achieved decent levels in multiple sports, it has to be said. And so it definitely comes across as a different kind of journey. Thank you very much for coming on today, Madcap. It's been great having you on. Nice to have a fellow Brit on the show as well. So that was awesome in and of itself for obvious reasons, especially when we know people.
No, I really appreciate you having me, guys. I said to
we'll have to bring you
Steve,
back. We'll have to bring you back for another show.
I was delighted that you asked me, to be fair. I think it's, I've been listening to you guys for years. You're part of my weekly schedule, listening to
Thank you.
Listen to the podcast, and you're part of my daily schedule. Looking at the forums, I do my log. I try and impart any sort of old man wisdom that I have.
That's the community, mate. That's the community right there. You're giving back.
I want to make sure
people something that you enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make sure people are doing what they're doing safely, as well.
Yes. Again, I was trying to touch on that earlier on before my Wi-Fi conked off about being able to do what you've done with very, very low dosages compared to what some people think. So just to finish the show, guys, as always, please note, we are not doctors and the opinions are ours. It's our view and based on our experience and views on the topic. A podcast for informational purposes and entertainment only. The freedom of speech and the First Amendment applies.